Good morning, everyone, and welcome. As I've explained to everybody who's heard me, and this poor cameraman's heard this about 5 times now, when they said it's such a gorgeous day, I said, are you kidding me? It's always sunny in New Bedford. But particularly, it's always sunny here at the Haskell Nursery, and we're so excited to be here. I'm John Vasconcellos, and I'm the Southeast Regional Director for the Trustees of Reservations here, based in New Bedford, with offices in Westport and throughout the Southeast. And I am so excited to be here. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the site of what will someday be a beautiful and compelling urban park for New Bedford, the Allen C. Haskell Park. While there's much work for us to do before the protection of this property is final, today we want to take a moment and celebrate some critical developments in this initiative. The trustees and partnership have gone hand in hand for our 120-plus year history. But today we're celebrating 2 particularly successful partnerships that we are most proud of with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and with the City of New Bedford. Governor Patrick and his administration and Mayor Mitchell and his administration have been upfront and so supportive of the work we do throughout the Commonwealth, but particularly here in New Bedford and here at Haskell Park. I want to start off by introducing Secretary Richard Sullivan of the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. From the Secretary's work in land conservation as Mayor of Westfield and as Commissioner of the DCR, and now in his cabinet role, Secretary Sullivan has long embraced the critical intersection of open space, healthy communities, and urban populations. Please join me in welcoming Secretary Sullivan.
Thank you, John. It is great to be back here at the Haskell Property, and we are certainly celebrating a great day today and a great partnership today. I would also like to say we're celebrating a phenomenal sales job by John and TTOR, which started a little over a year ago when I was invited, which I thought was a very nice invitation, to speak at their annual meeting, and went up. It was a lovely event. What I didn't know is that was where John was then going to put the arm on me, walk the grounds, invite me back to New Bedford, tell me all the pluses and why this was an important piece of property, not just to the trustees, but to the city and to the environmental movement that is happening across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and how it would tie in with our urban agricultural program. And I did want to recognize that Greg Watson, who is the Commissioner of the Department of Agricultural Resources for Massachusetts, is here today and a huge proponent of this project. So it was all tied in very nicely. And certainly the property and the history and the possibilities here at this site are truly phenomenal. I want to thank the Haskell family for their role in making this possible. I want to thank our legislative partners, who I know are going to speak here in a bit, for taking the tough votes every single day for funding for these projects. And those votes are difficult votes because you have to set priorities. And when you take those votes to spend dollars, they are always sure that we are spending them wisely. And I cannot think of a smarter way to invest the dollars that we are given than in land conservation and park development across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Governor Patrick and Lieutenant Governor Murray, when they first came into office, made a commitment to land conservation and preservation. And today, during their administration, a little over 6 years, there have been 101,000 acres of land, 101,000 acres. More land today is in preservation than is in development in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And that is important because when you ask families and you ask residents of a community or of this state why they choose to live in the community they live in, they will tell you it's because of the quality of life. And when they are asked to define what the quality of life is, at the top of that list is access to open space, to parks, recreational opportunities, our farmlands, our forests, our rivers, our streams, our oceans. Those are the things that are important in the very fabric of the communities that we live in. And this property is emblematic of the movement, because here we are in the heart of New Bedford, preserving what is really a historic, cutting-edge piece of property back in the day when Mr. Haskell was the architect here and the landscape architect here. And we will bring that back, and we will tie it into the urban agricultural program. We will tie it into the community. We will bring public access to this property so that everybody can share in this treasure here in the city of New Bedford. And one fact, over the course of the Patrick Murray administration, we have either developed new or reinvested in 154 parks at the municipal level across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So that during the governor's administration, today, which was not true at the beginning of his administration, over a third of the Commonwealth's population, so some 2,000 people today, have access to a park that is about a 10-minute walk from their own home. And many of the people that have access to that open space live in environmental justice communities such as the city of New Bedford. That is a true legacy that the governor has left with the support of all of our partners to be able to bring to the residents of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the residents of New Bedford. And I would be remiss if I did not celebrate and give a shout out to the trustees of reservation, because across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, they have been true partners. The mission of the trustees matches identically with the mission of EEA and all of our agencies in terms of land conservation, preservation, and providing open access to lands and recreational opportunities to the citizens of the Commonwealth. I want to thank the trustees for their leadership and certainly being a great partner here, as well as the city. The mayor made this a priority for the city. We listened very carefully at EEA to what our mayors and our local elected officials list as their priorities, and this was at the top of the city's list. So we were happy to partner not only with the trustees, with the city. And finally, I want to give a shout out to Kurt Gardner, who runs our program for us at EEA. He's been here many times. We kind of went over our last minute notes at the Midnight Diner on the corner before we came over. So again, Mayor, we're leaving a few dollars here in the city of New Bedford, which is becoming a great habit. But I want to thank Kurt
for lunch too.
I want to thank Kurt for what he does every single day, his passion for this job, his time and his talent. It isn't a job, it truly is a mission for Kurt, and he does a great job. So thank you, and thank everybody for making this possible.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Secretary. Senator Montigny unfortunately could not make it, but Senator Montigny, as you all know, and if you don't know, let me tell you, for 20 years as state senator, has been an absolute force and a very effective force in the renaissance of New Bedford. Having gone to high school with him, I know his tenacity, and I have seen that work through his leadership, and we are very grateful to that. And I want to acknowledge Mike Murray, who is here from his staff, and if you can make sure the senator knows of our gratitude to him, that'd be appreciated.
It says job well done.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. More to go, though. More to go. I also want to mention that, sorry about that, Representative Markey, Chris Markey, has just joined us and has the fortune of including this property in his district. And when the trustees of reservations first considered how we might save this property, Representative Markey was an early and engaging proponent on its behalf. We are particularly excited about Representative Markey's interest, as it dovetails so well with the work he has done promoting the importance of agriculture to the South Coast. And today we are at the future site of what will be a community-based urban agricultural initiative. Representative Markey, can we have a few words from you? Sure. Wonderful.
Thank you very much for coming. This is a rarity that there's a place in New Bedford that has something happening in it, and it's actually in my district like this. Usually we come and it's in Tony's district or Bob's district where there is a great degree of economic need. But I think if you take a look at this, this is one of those great programs where government works with the private sector, with nonprofits, and with the government. Because this, if you're standing here, you would never know that you're in the middle of New Bedford, right where we are. And this is the heart and soul, really, of New Bedford. If you were to walk a mile in almost every direction, you would encounter every type of urban environment you could think, from public housing to 3 families to high schools to little elementary schools. Everything that we have in the urban area is all within walking distance of this. And we hope that everybody who lives within that area has the opportunity to see the beauty and the opportunities that arise when you have urban agriculture. You get to see the horticulturists at work, and you get to see the open space. There is a long history here on this property. I think we all agree that the work of John, the trustees, to be able to save this property is a huge victory for the city of New Bedford, for the citizens of New Bedford, and have the opportunity to see what real agriculture is like. And again, keeping things local with us is really important, and that's what this does. It provides that local opportunity to educate, to watch, and hopefully have the next generation be as interested in the agriculture as we are in the legislature in promoting it, that they can see hands-on how it works. So again, the commissioner is here. I think that is a huge thing. The secretary is here. That is how important this is, I think, to the state, to the governor's office, and how important it is to us. So thank you for coming to my little area of New Bedford. I'd like to say it's my little area, but in all due respect, Tony has been a huge advocate of things like this, and Bob as well. Bob is on the Environment Committee, and he's, again, a staunch supporter of this type of work, and I can't thank them enough for their support throughout. So again, thank you very much for the opportunities to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Markey. Representative Cabral has been serving the city for 23 years as a state representative. From a public school teacher turned public servant, Representative Cabral appreciates the key role that this unique type of urban park, which will have very strong partnerships with educational institutions and possess a very strong commitment to engaging the children of New Bedford in their very own secret garden, what this park will do for this city. Please join me in welcoming Representative Cabral.
Thank you, John, and thanks for that great introduction. I'm going to ask John to introduce me every time I speak, but I'm delighted to be here today. A special thank you to the Haskell family, obviously to the trustees and in John's leadership, and to the secretary for seeing the value of investing urban park dollars in this property, specifically in the city of New Bedford. For us, this is obviously, besides agricultural and open space, it's really an urban park. We'll give an opportunity for kids to come here from and enjoy, families throughout New Bedford, be walking distance or otherwise, to really enjoy and see Mother Nature how it is, really. And sometimes in some urban settings we don't have that opportunity. And I think this park, this urban park, and this preservation is really what we need to continue. All world-class cities have open spaces of this nature, have urban parks that its residents can enjoy and feel back to Mother Nature and touch and feel our environment. And in the end, it's quality of life. All first-class cities have a quality of life that people want to live in, people want to enjoy that community, and they want to move back into this community. And hopefully projects of this nature and investments of this nature really creates the kind of network of urban parks in the city that we are all proud of, and that we'll continue to be proud of this community. So once again, thank you for the vision, John, and thank you for the vision, Mr. Secretary, and a very special thank you to the Haskell family. These kinds of partnerships are invaluable. You can't really put a price tag to it when you turn a private property into an urban setting, at the same time an agricultural setting, and open it up to the public. It's really a tremendous opportunity for all of us in New Bedford. So thank you to all of you, and I'm excited to see the end product. Thank you.
Representative Cabral. Representative Barb Kazera has served in the Massachusetts House of Representatives for 24 years. And prior to that, and I know we have some city councilors here today, 5 years in the City Council of New Bedford. Representative Kazera is keenly aware, as anybody else is, of how much this city has lost without caring for its cultural resources, and how important it is that we are saving this very, very special place, the Haskell Property. Please join me in welcoming Representative Kazera.
Thank you, John, and good morning, everyone. It's truly a delight and a pleasure to be here and know that the trustees of reservations have undertaken the Haskell Property as one of their projects. Many years ago, I was chair of the Natural Resources Committee when the trustees stepped up to the plate at the bioreserve with the Freetown State Forest. They do wonderful work. It's usually equated with rural areas, and this morning's event celebrates something unique. I'm also glad to see the investment take place on the part of the state. I can recall countless people from this area who would come to the Haskell Property to have pictures taken on special occasions in their lives. And I'm sure that Haskell, who was a renowned landscape architect, indeed an artist when it came to his profession, and who made this site bloom, would be very pleased to know that the trustees and the state are stepping up to truly make this an urban oasis for all the people of the New Bedford and Greater New Bedford area to enjoy. And I think that's what we celebrate here today. So congratulations to the trustees and all that made this possible. I'm glad to be part of it today.
Thank you, Representative Kazera. So it's hard to believe, but it was just over a year ago that sitting in my office at Westport at the trustees, I got a call asking if the trustees would consider looking at a property that was under a very serious threat of development, and probably unlike any kind of land conservation we had certainly done, certainly in the Southeast. The type of land that we've saved in Westport, Marion, Rochester, Dartmouth, that property was the Haskell Nursery, and that call came from Mayor Jon Mitchell's City Hall. It has been an exciting and challenging year, and while there is much work still ahead of us, we have a solid partner in the city of New Bedford. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Jon Mitchell.
Well, this is an exciting day, and one that I wasn't sure was going to come a year ago, John, as you alluded to. And it's a beautiful day. The weather's fantastic, and I only wish that it had been a couple more weeks into the season, because you'd see everything in bloom. The magnolias look fantastic, but when this place is in bloom, you really get to understand the genius of Alan Haskell, and it's really, this is a tribute to him, a way of enabling his gift to New Bedford, all that he gave over the years, to continue to give back in ways that people don't need to pay for anymore, right? We've all bought, so many of us have purchased plants here, and so many people in the area have had their properties designed by Alan over the years, including mine. Not by me. I don't think I could afford Alan, but luckily the prior owner did, and we've preserved in my own property Alan's design. But this is a special place, and Representative Kazera is right. It's one that figures large in the collective imagination in New Bedford. I can remember as a kid coming here for wedding photos, family weddings and such, and I think my lasting memory of this place was being chased by one of the peacocks that used to be housed in cages like that. I can tell you, a 5-year-old kid. For a 5-year-old kid, being chased by a peacock is pretty traumatic. And so every time, as an adult, I came here to purchase plants, I had to look around the corner every once in a while just for comfort's sake. But John's right. No, this is a year ago or so. We'd seen the for sale sign up on Shawmut Avenue, and as soon as I saw that, I was somewhat alarmed, and we reached out to my friend Heidi Padnod to find out what was going on with the property. She was the broker, and Heidi from the start was committed to finding something better to do with this than just to have it be sold off and subdivide it into ranch houses or something else. This was too special, and I wanted to thank Heidi for all that you did in making this process work really well. I also, so we had that meeting in my office, and we were scratching our heads. How do we save something like this? The city, look, we don't have the funds to create one new park after another and maintain them in perpetuity. So it's a pretty tough thing for us to, would have been a pretty tough thing for us to pull off. And then Christina Connolly, my assistant chief of staff, who was the font of so many great ideas in the city, said, well, how about TTOR? And then Ann Lauro, our steward of historic properties, said, yeah, that's a great idea, Christina. And I said, nah, that'll never work. T2R preserves these large tracts of land in rural areas. It just doesn't fit their model. And the two of them were like, no, give it a shot. So I said, okay, why don't you give John Vasconcellos a call? He's over there now. He'd been over there for less than a year by then, and I said that's the place to start. And fortunately, John didn't see it my way. He saw it Ann's and Christina's way, and we were off. He got excited about it and saw a way forward for TTOR to have a role in an urban environment. And it didn't have to be all about large tracts of undeveloped land that people tend not to visit. There was a role for preservation of open spaces within cities. And this is something, we talk in government almost to the point of cliche about collaboration and about partnerships. And it does get old after a while, but I think what people have to understand about what happened here is that there was a true partnership, one in which everyone involved extended themselves just a little bit more to make this happen. Everybody understood that this property had to be preserved for the next generation and so forth. And so everybody stepped up, starting with the Haskell family. And you guys, you could have kept this on the market. You could have held out for a higher price, and nobody would have begrudged you at all had you done that. And so I really want to thank you for stepping up for the city. And I would ask everybody to join me in a round of applause for that. I'd like to thank the role of TTOR, and we have some real strong local connections here with John, with Jen Du Bois, who she and I worked together on a project when I was at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we were able to get money out of a big multinational corporation in a plea agreement and preserve Cornell Farm down in South Dartmouth. And she continues her great work at TTOR now with so many other great projects. Nancy Durfee, another person who's contributed so much to TTOR, another New Bedford resident. TTOR looked at this thing differently from other projects, and we're so grateful that you did something that for you was somewhat unorthodox, because in the long run we'll be able to preserve a great public space. In New Bedford, as both Tony and the Secretary mentioned, we are working very hard to raise the quality of life here, and a big part of that effort is the creation of great public spaces. When you ask people in New Bedford, why do you like New Bedford? Again, like in so many other communities, the conversation quickly turns to the stuff that people like to go to. So it's the downtown, it's our beaches, it's our parks, and we're working very hard to increase the number of those spaces and to improve them, to really raise the standard across the board. And we have to thank, to a great degree, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the Patrick administration, and particularly Secretary Rick Sullivan, for seeing it our way and supporting us along the way through the Park Grant Program, through Kurt Gertner's stewardship of that program. We have been able to complete or to start some great public space projects. Custom House Square was we just had a groundbreaking with the Secretary about 2 weeks ago. That's going to be a fantastic public space in our downtown and give us something that our downtown has always lacked, a green space that people will gravitate to. The walkway on the hurricane barrier, another public space funded by the Park Grant Program that will be unlike anything in the United States. There's nothing, there is nowhere in America will you find an elevated bikeway overlooking the ocean. But we'll have it here in New Bedford, and it's thanks to Rick and to Kurt. And I know I speak for Steve Martin's council of Ward 2 and Henry Bousquet, who's the council of Ward 3, which we're in right now. They see it the same way, that great public spaces will enable the city to elevate itself in ways that will be hard to quantify. I can tell you today the city is stepping up in a big way in its commitment to this property. We're contributing land, city-owned land, as part of this complex. We're contributing an easement. There's a paper street over there, and that's going to become part of the property. And I'm also announcing today that the city will be contributing $100,000 in precious community development block grant funds to support the funding of what's going to take place here. And so we're very proud to do that. The community development block grant program has shriveled over the years, especially in the last few years. That money is very hard to come by, but I believe very strongly that this is an important project, that other partners have extended themselves significantly, and we really want to make it happen. And it's going to happen, and it's going to happen because of the work of so many of you. And I will also want to mention the contributions of our city planner, Jill McLean, in this effort. Again, good city planning goes a long way, and I really appreciate Jill's contribution to the effort. But it's a team effort, and the public should be proud that they've gotten something great out of government at both the local level, the state level, from the nonprofit sector, and from the private sector in the form of the Haskell Property. This is something great, and it's something we'll bring our kids and our grandchildren to in the years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell, and thank you for that wonderful announcement. That just made my job a little easier. So, thank you. And I also want to acknowledge Patrick Sullivan as part of the city staff, who was a critically key in helping us secure that. And I have been horribly remiss in that every time I've spoken about the work that we have done here, I have failed to mention the person who has really been able to make this happen in my office, and that is Jennifer DuBois. Jennifer is the Director of Land Conservation for this area of the state, and rightfully so, has just been given a promotion, so now has more responsibility at the trustees as of 5 o'clock last night. So I'm glad that we got this project, and she's going to make sure we see this through. She is an amazing asset, and again, makes me look much smarter than I am. But just about 9 months ago, Jennifer and I were clipping along on this, and we get a new boss. A new CEO at the Trustees of Reservations, Barbara Erickson. But I've got to tell you, from her first, of which she has always reminded me of many visits to Haskell, she immediately saw the potential and how a place this special could only be saved by an organization as special as the Trustees, given the various elements, the various challenges, and the opportunities here. So it has been a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for Jennifer and I to have a boss who gets this and sees this and pushes us through this every day. So thank you, and please join me in welcoming Barbara Erickson.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, John. I just want to follow up on a comment that Secretary Sullivan made about John Vasconcellos strong-arming the state. And I'm pleased to know that the Secretary can empathize what it's like to work with John 5 days a week, which is why the Secretary has been so kind to let me hide out at 100 Cambridge Street. Only more compelling than John is John and Jennifer as a duo. And so I have to say, I've been to Haskell, I think, 10 times, which is remarkable when you think that the Trustees has 110 properties around the state, roughly 30,000 acres. We're in 75 communities, a reservation within 5 miles of half of the residents of the state. And yet John's been very good to have me down here many times, and I've been fortunate to also visit this wonderful property with both Kurt Gartner and Greg Watson, also fantastic partners. So it's a pleasure to be here with you today, and it's really inspiring for us to have this be the first property in New Bedford, and fantastic that it is the Allen C. Haskell Community Park. This would only be possible, as you've heard from my colleagues, that it is a public and private partnership, and it really has been the dedication of the state, the city, government officials, and also private individuals and foundations with us today. If we could get a round of applause for those individuals as well. As you've heard from Secretary Sullivan, really conservation and preservation is all about quality of life. And we feel that this property in this location will absolutely benefit the citizens of New Bedford and the people who have the good fortune of visiting this special place. We are thrilled that it will become our 110th property, we hope. Places that are integral to open space and the fabric of our communities. And we know that the Alan C. Haskell Park will honor and build on the legacy of the New Bedford-born Alan Haskell, a raised horticultural master, and this will add a beautiful park in his legacy. The historic structure, as you see here, the beautifully landscaped grounds, the greenhouses, and the open space will also provide a range of opportunities for us to partner with local institutions like UMass Dartmouth, Youth Build, the Mary Institute, Southeastern Massachusetts Agricultural Partnership, and many other organizations to create horticultural, agricultural, and recreational opportunities for the families and residents of New Bedford. Along with the EEA, we are grateful to the City of New Bedford, thank you for that wonderful news, Mayor, and other donors who have made early and significant investments in this opportunity. And lastly, I would like to join my colleagues in expressing our sincere gratitude to Alan's widow, Ellie Haskell, and their children, but especially to David Haskell. You have been such incredibly patient, wonderful partners in this process, and we look forward to helping you celebrate Alan's legacy and opening this property for the benefit of the community this summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. And I would like to add my thank you, Ellie, along with Felicia, Alan and Ellie's daughter, and David's wife, Allison, who is here. Thank you for being here. You've made the day all the more special. Ellie, you know how valuable our time is together, and I know you and Jennifer have spent wonderful times reminiscing about this spectacular property, and we want to capture those stories because the stories that these places tell are as important as their physicality. And so thank you for your generosity, and thank you for your partnership, and thank you all for being with us today. Let's do it, Mrs. Haskell. What's a good backdrop?
Why don't we go in?
You can go to her.
You want us to come to you?
No, she can stand.
Okay.
Or they want to
Get
come
her
back up
walker
here,
in
then
front of her, though. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Where are you going?
Here?
Where are you at? Where are we going to go, over there?
Right here.
Yeah. I can do it, Al. Take your time, sweetie. You get all the time in the world.
Right, oh, that's fine.
You can stand right in front and we'll all get around you.
Oh, you want to
No, we get that all the time. But you're much more important.
Anybody else need to
Kurt.
Kurt. I'm right here too, Mom. Heidi. Mike and Kurt. I'm not side of her, hon. Oh. Yeah, no.
You can hold it.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can hold one side, you can hold the other. Yeah, I can't really see my hand in there at all.
Maybe just a little cozier on this side.
I'm too
Just to
short.
make sure I don't get. Oh, I got everybody. Great. Take another one just
Everybody got it?
Okay.
Great.
Checking Facebook in about 2 minutes.
Show up. It's already up there.
Walk her back.